Welcome everybody tonight to the Central Brevard Rock and Gym Club. I'm going to present to you guys on prospecting tonight. That's how I've gotten into the hobby of rock hounding, is through prospecting. And this is actually a wonderful hobby. Don't overthink it. We had a lot of fun at the show doing the panning with Chaz, and people had a lot of fun. They're like, well, that isn't as hard as I thought it was. And really it's not. It's very fun, and the office views are amazing. If it rains and it washes out a road, you're the last one to ever use the office. So, you know, sometimes you'll see views and you're like, man, I wish I could get back up there again. Roads get washed out and it's hard. So without further ado, my name is Patrick Williamson. I'm a combat Army veteran, and now I'm just a retired veteran, and I do rock hounding and prospecting as my hobby. I'm going to take you on a trip tonight to get you to understand how gold is formed, where it's found, and how you could recover it. So, gold starts out in the mantle of the earth. Very hot hydrothermic fluids. Hydrothermic fluids are going to push up through the crust, through rocks, and they're going to start depositing all sorts of minerals. One of the favorite minerals that will carry gold is quartz. This piece here, as you guys can see, the funny looking U in it, is a drill hole. So this round that I shot, and when I say I shot, we blast, so blow things up. Here was this holds boosters, and they're about the size of a .410 shotgun shell. But this was full of boosters. We loaded all the holes. We blew the ore out. When we did, a chunk of it still had the drill hole halfway in it. So it was sent back, and at the club I faced it, and I've started polishing it. It'll be a desk piece for me. This gold ore looks like. Now this is silver, and you're gonna be like, gold, Patrick. So this is really unique. This is the first stage of how gold is even found on the surface. This is a sulfide compound, so this gold is still in the sulfur compound, and it hasn't weathered out yet. We go underground and we get this, obviously, so it would take years for it to see the weather. But as it would come out, all this stuff will start weathering with the oxygen, the rain, and anything that comes down on it, and it'll start to release the little bits of gold. Now this being sulfide doesn't have a lot of free mill gold in it, but it does have some. So if you crush this down, you will be able to pan some gold out of this as well. To process the gold out of this, the silver area is about 50% gold. So when you process it down, you roast it, get it hot for about an hour, 1400 degrees, and it starts releasing the soft sulfur in there. You'll add iron nails to it. Again, this is all scientific. You're exchanging molecules in there, and you're getting it to do something else. From there, it's going to come out. It's actually going to look like real gold. You know, when this stuff precipitates gold, it just precipitates gold. It's one of the things you'll see. So this is found in the ground, sulfides. Now, if I was to find gold in a rock, which if you guys look here afterwards, you guys can see the quartz here, that's lode gold. Lode gold is gold that has precipitated out, and it is in the quartz rock as pure gold. This gold up here assays for 19 to 21 karat, so it's 24 karat is pure. So this is pretty pure gold, and we find this out in the desert. So being underground, I had to do MSHA training. With MSHA, it's Miner Safety, Health and Association. But they're like OSHA, and they control the underground. When you're underground, it's a lot of fun. You see a lot of cool stuff, geologic stuff that has been around for a long time. But one thing that is always important is safety, safety, safety. Even if you're out doing this on your own, safety, safety, safety. Underground, this is my rebreather. This would hook onto my belt. This is my tag in, tag out. A lot of you guys have done that before. We put our tag on, and we don't take our tag until we come back out. If there was ever a collapse in the mine, that's how they're going to know how to get rescue to us and get us out safely. If there's ever gas in the mine and you cannot breathe, you will start disassembling this, red, pull it apart, and there will be a gas mask inside here that you'll pull out and you'll put on. You don't want to use them. Mines are a very wet place usually, and that thing doesn't like humidity, and the more you pull humidity across the activated ingredient inside, the hotter it gets. one of our teachers for MSHA training said that by the time he got out of a mine using this, it was so hot that you couldn't even touch it without burning your hands. And he said it was like breathing on like a lighter, but that was the only way to get back out of that mine safely. So these rocks make excellent pieces. Here's some jewelry I made out of that rock. And then I have cabs up here that are my original cabs from when I got back home this year from Mount Baker on this mining endeavor. I'm going to move a little quicker. How do we find gold after it's out of the mountain? Well, metal detectors are a great thing. This is a pinpointing metal detector, and you'll see the little PVC piece here. It plugs in, and you can use that to find gold. And usually when you're in a hole, that's where it works best. So at the show, we were panning for gold. You guys got to see that. And Chaz brought the material. This is from a mine in Georgia. Loud mine in Georgia. So this stuff that you're looking at is all quartz in here. You know, the material is quartz. Crescent mine, yes, I was going to say it. Yeah, Crescent mine. So the Crescent mine is a quartz mine on the East Coast, just like out in the West Coast, only it has lode gold in it, which means that it has the visible free mill gold. It's not in sulfide form. How does the gold not stay in sulfide form? It's basic physics. These mountains heat up, they contain pressure. If you bleed the pressure off early, it won't do what it's supposed to do, and gold will stay locked into other compounds. So think of it like a pressure cooker. If you're pressure cooking something, you're going to run the whole length of the time, because if it doesn't do it, everything is going to be spoiled. So this is quartz, and in here we did find gold, very good gold. I also brought another bag. This was from the GPAA when I joined the gold prospecting club as well, and it says how to pan your gold on the back, but this is your trainer bag, so there should be some large in there. And if you don't see any gold, I hope you caught the tailings, because it's still in there. Just don't throw it on the ground. It's harder to get back up. So I join clubs for everything, right? Like there's a club for everything. I'm part of the Lost Dutchman's Mining Association and the GPAA. Both very good clubs. We have claims all over the United States, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and then all over out west. Now, you guys you may be like, well, I don't know about gold. Wherever there's gold, there's beautiful rocks. So just remember that. Out in California, a lot of the rocks that I've picked up are on this placard that my wife has built. And she wire wraps them or sells them in little trinket type things. So when we get the gold into black sands and you're panning it out, you got a snuffer bottle, and you can suck the black sands like the final step per se, right? Doesn't look like much. Many wives have probably thrown this out, and their husband's like, where's my snuffer bottle? But if you shake this, stratification is what gets the gold to fall to the bottom of the pan. These riffles will keep your gold in the pan. So if you put this material in there, we want to stratify it, which means we want to shake it up and get the gold to fall. Gold is heavy. It is 19.3 times heavier than water, specific gravity. Mercury is 13 or 16 per 16. So they're almost heavy together. You know, a little bit difference. But anyways, when you stratify, you get your gold to fall down in the bottom of this pan. This crease is where you'd want your gold. Tap, shake, use your hand if you get that down there, and you start doing this motion. The water is going to come in, and it's going to push all the light materials on top to the back, and then as you pull back, it's just going to suck them right off and out into there. Now, I don't want to lose my gold. But until you start hitting black sand, you're not losing your gold. Black sand is lighter than gold. And until you hit it, you're not losing it. So we pan down. Once we get down to where we've recovered all the big pieces of gold, there's still a lot of gold micro in the black sands that you would keep. That's where another fun experience. Mercury. Put a little mercury in this. There is a specific ration. You just don't dump the whole bottle in there. And then use a rock tumbler and you can tumble it for 24 hours, and you'll collect a thing called an amalgam. That's mercury with gold trapped in it. Mercury is the only known natural magnet for gold. If I were to put mercury in this pan, don't ever contaminate anything that you're going to normally use with mercury because it is dangerous, so you've got specific tools for it. But these pans all have micro grooves and gouges in them. And in fact, to season a pan when you first get it, you should get some sandpaper and you should scuff it up. Micro gold falls into all those cracks, so if you get into a stream and you're streaming and you're panning, and all of a sudden you start seeing silver balls in your pan, you better slow down. You've just hit something with mercury in it. And if you set your pan down a few hours and come back, you'll notice that the cracks are all turning silver. The mercury is getting the gold and sticking there. It's kind of a cool thing to see. When unexpectedly you'll freak out and be like, oh, what's all this mercury doing here? Where'd it come from? It can be messy, so you got to be careful with it, but it is a great tool. It's been used for many years. The old timers back in the day, when they would sluice, they would cover the copper plates on their sluices with mercury, and all the gold that washed over would just get stuck there. Then they'd come and they'd scrape it off. Again, they were scraping off amalgam, and if you weigh this piece, half of whatever it is what you're going to get of gold when you boil the mercury back off. How do we get the mercury off? You can either do it chemically or you can do it with heat. There's a retort, which is an actual machine system that would boil it off, put it into water, re-solidify it, or out west in the desert, they just use nitric acid. Put that in there, let it boil off, come back in a little bit, and get your jar. And that works pretty well too. You just lose your mercury. Mercury is reusable, so as much mercury as you can save, you can reuse again. And a lot of the mercury that I have has been used numbers of times to get gold out. No, actually, I have some more here. I have some with dirt in it. And if you look at it, the dirt it doesn't absorb like water. You'd look at it and be like, that's crazy. I'll leave that up here too. Let's see. Okay, so there's sluicing to get gold. So when we're talking about the free mill, the placer gold side, which is what this is hard rock, load gold. It's still in rock form. On the placer side, you've got two ways to get it out. If you're in a dry area with no water, you're going to use a thing called a dry washer. If you're in a wet area where you've got creeks and streams and access to good water, you can use your sluice box. How does a dry washer work? What is a dry washer? Well, a dry washer is going to have a header box on top, and it'll have a screen in it that filters out all of your rocks. I don't pre-classify, I just shovel it in. That's how I was taught. So you get the rocks out of it. Once it falls through, it'll go into another box on the bottom. So one box is going this way and another box is going this way. On the box on the bottom, we've got a leaf blower attached to it. So it's pumping large amounts of air, all noisy and dusty too. Pumps the air through there, goes through a fan, shakes the box, and just like a sluice box with water, it's doing the same thing with air. It's pushing the lights up, they go to the end, fall out. When you're done, you'd clean out your box like you would a sluice box, only it's going to be dry. And that eventually gets put into a pan where you can pan it down. There's lots of machines out there. You can get really advanced, really high tech. You can spend way more than you ever get in gold, so just be aware of that too. But simply dry washing and sluicing that's how everybody else has found gold. Back in the 1800s, they didn't even have plastic pans. The first pans with riffles, interestingly enough, were some guys that were sitting around a fire. They put their pans in there, and then they'd sit them and they'd bang dents into the side of the pan. So if you ever seen any old shows with the gold pan and it's all dented up, that's what they've been doing. They've been doing those dents to create these riffles so that they could pan their gold. The Chinese, they use a big pan. It looks like their hat. If they would take it off and turn it upside down, it's a cone pan, so it comes to a point in the middle. And you really need a lot of water, about waist deep, to do that because you're going to really sling that thing around. And a true Chinese pan is actually pretty large. It's not small like this. They've got things called banjo pans, which is a gold pan and a sluice box all in one. I think that's a little, I'll just keep separate pieces and carry extra gear, it's fine. So yeah, so I've got a lot of good stuff up here. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
You're hiking or wherever, you're back in the backcountry, you have the pan and a shovel. Where are you gonna dig? What are you looking for as far as a place to dig to get what you're gonna put into the pan?
So gold has only moved across the landscape via water. Wind doesn't blow gold, doesn't travel any other way. It travels through massive water events. That could be flash floods through the Arizona desert, may cut out little stream channels and such. You're wanting to look for a rocky, gravelly base. Imagine you were on a sandbar somewhere on a creek or a stream river, and you see the big cobblestones. Once you see the big cobblestones, they've moved there with some force. Just like the inside bend of a river is where you're always going to look, because that's where the velocity of the water has stopped and the gold will drop out. Now, in a desert, this might be up on a mountainside, and that could be an elevation of 2,000 to 3,000 feet. How did that gold get up there? Big water events that moved it, and so gold is found that way. Quartz is an indicator. Quartz is a bearing rock for gold. So I want to see quartz in the area, at least little chunks of it through what looks like a river stream. Let's see, change in color. So when you're looking at your dirt, I like to find where Mother Nature has done most of the work for me. Digging is for the birds. I can dig, but I don't want to do that. Less digging possible, I can, that's great. So I try to find where water has come and created a channel so that I can see the side profile of that ground. You want to go down to a hard layer. Bedrock is what they'll say. Bedrock can be subjective. Bedrock could be a hard caliche, which is like a clay cement that has been hardened over time, or it can be actual bedrock like granite or anything like that. So depending on where you're at, you want to go down to the hardest layer. Once you find the hardest layer, that's where you're going to find your gold. And then usually it's in a streak. So I like to look on the mountainsides, wherever the water's been washing down, looks like a dry creek bed. That's where I want to go hit. Move the boulders. It should look like a sluice box in your mind. However the water was coming down, you should see places where it stirred things up. Move boulders aside and you'll find piles of black sand sometimes, and you just scoop all that up. Other times you're going to dig for it. Metal detecting and such, you'll find big picker pieces. So in the gold world, you have your fines, which is going to be like a flour gold. That would be this stuff in this little vial. And then you're going to have your pickers. Anything you can pick up with your finger and drop 3 times is now a picker. Now a nugget is obviously much larger. I would say if you've got anything over a couple grams, I'll call that a nugget. But to find a 1 to 2 gram picker is pretty easy out in the desert with a metal detector. A lot of people do it. And 1 to 2 grams is very, very small. Gold is worth 5,300, 400 an ounce. How much is that? Well, just so you know, this is a 1 ounce vial. So you would have to have this clear full with gold to have 1 ounce. You're dealing with like a fishing weight. So for every fishing weight, 1 ounce, that's $5,000. I'm still fairly new at this, and seems that the people I meet don't give me the best spots. They make me earn the spots. So I usually dig low yielding areas and put in all this work while they get their laughs, and then eventually next round I might find something better. How do you know where you're even digging? Where can you go do this? Well, clubs are a great thing. There's many clubs. These are national clubs, so these are all over, but once you get out west, there are small clubs. You want to look for things that indicate a claim. What is a claim? A claim is an area that somebody has rights to for the minerals. Claim jumping back in the day was an offense that you would get shot over. It was kind of like stealing horses. They don't like that. So when you're out, you look for a little tag usually, or some posts, some 4x4 posts, and they'll be painted. They'll have rocks around them. Nobody died there, I promise you. It's not a cross missing, the arms or anything, but it's a claim. On these claims, you can verify if the claim is still active. Some people don't renew their claim, like they don't renew their club membership, and it goes out. Well, if there's a lot of digging holes there and that claim isn't active, I'm going to go digging. Now, if it's active and you see tire tracks, steer clear, because they get angry out there. They don't just yell, they throw things too. So claims are a great way to find it. BLM land is usually unclaimed land. There are claims on BLM land. But if it's open BLM land, dig till your heart's content. There are no rules. You keep what you find. Courtesy, the government's paid to maintain that spot for you. So it is a lot of fun. You got to be careful when you're out there. So I got an awesome opportunity, and you guys will see on these certificates of authenticity a little QR code. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the YouTube channel for Mount Baker Mining and Materials. That's who I worked for out here in the Lone Jack mine, a guy named Jason. A very good dude. His partner is Harry. They've reopened a mine that was opened in 1896. And I was fortunate enough to be picked to come and help them work in the mine this year. The mine has only had one death. That's good. And it wasn't even related to mining. It was something totally different. Back in the 1890s to the 1920s, because this mine is so remote, they would pay people to go and guard the mine during the close season, because the snow and the avalanche will keep you from mining out there, because it's really rugged territory. So there was a Frenchman and an Italian, and they were in the mine guarding this mine, and one of them never returned, and the other guy took off with the gold that was the other guy's share. And he said he went out hunting and never came back. Well, the guys came back to the mine the next season. They're like, hey, we got to dig this sump out because we're redoing something. When they dug the sump out, that's where they found the other guard. He was, I guess, going to guard it from under the water. But so other than that, the mine doesn't have any deaths. It's been open since 1896. It's up on the Canadian border, 2 miles from Canada. So it was a lot of fun to get there. The mine is about 5,000 feet elevation, and it took 40 minutes from the road, the main highway, up, turn back, switchbacks, to even get to where we stayed to mine. And we still stayed 2 miles from, or about 1.5 miles from the actual mine shack itself. So it was a lot of fun. I got to learn hard rock. If you're ever going to find more gold, you got to know how to get it out of the rock. And I figured that would be a good way to do that. Like I said, if you scan this QR code, you can see the video on YouTube of me mining. There's a lot more videos that explains everything we're doing. Jason is a very knowledgeable man. There's even videos on there of him smelting this down to verify that there's 50% gold running through this ore. So a lot of good knowledge there. How did I find Jason? Via YouTube, like I'm telling you guys. At the end of their season last year, they put on the show, if you would like to help, just send us an email. So I was like, well, email's free, so I'll do it. And it took about 6 months, and then I knew I was hired for sure and going out there. On the way out to do this, again, you're going to find gold in lots of different states, right? I took the Oregon Trail, so I went from Kansas City to Portland, Oregon, retracing the historic Oregon Trail to go out and do this. There are probably a few people in history that have went from Florida to California to Washington to gold mine. They're not really written about. I don't know too many books, but usually everybody came from more of the heartland. But I did make that big trip, and I went out there, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would have did this in horse and carriage. I think I would have just passed on this whole endeavor. That would have been a long time getting out there. So, yeah, this is gold prospecting. course, these tools are all subjective, so you can get away with just a pan. Thank you.